My biggest concern, of course, continues to be the safety of the innocent seafarers that are trapped in the region. It's around 20,000 seafarers in roughly 1,500 vessels that have not been able to actually leave this region, which of course is a detrimental effect to them, the mental health, the fatigue. And I'm very grateful to the countries in the region to continue to provide the necessary supplies for these seafarers and for the ships. But of course, this has a global ramifications. We're talking about the 20% of crude oil that is not exported to the rest of the world, 19% of natural liquefied gas, 13% of chemicals for fertilizers, which has another negative effect on the food security. The more that shipping gets affected, the more that everybody else also gets affected. So for me, it's important that the root causes are addressed at the right level. In the meantime, I have a job to do, follow the decision of the Council of IMO, in order to work on an evacuation framework for those seafarers and those vessels to leave the region as soon as it's safe to do so. This continues to make shipping very resilient, and we learn from all these crises how we actually have to be prepared in the future in order not to depend on just one type of commodity. You can actually look at this as one of the benefits for why the organization is working with the sector in order to diversify the different type of fuels, to look for efficiencies, to decarbonize the sector, to enhance the use of technologies that are already up and coming. All this is the kind of feedback that I look forward to hear in a gathering like the Capital Link, where you have representatives from the sectors and from different stakeholders, in order for IMO to continue to provide those regulations that will be effective, and it will allow us for shipping not only to grow, but also to be a responsible sector. It is important to recognize that the moment that you talked about relaxing regulations, you start reducing the effectiveness, the efficiency, the safety of shipping. IMO is a fair and open forum where all the views are expected. As I said to the member states, it's very difficult to actually say yes or to satisfy all the requests that we receive. And from everywhere I travel around the world, I always get different opinions. That's where the organization is successful, because we need to find those compromises. We accept that there are challenges, but it's how we address those challenges without bringing shipping to the levels where the safety, the security, and the environmental risk will actually be higher. We do acknowledge when in situations like we have in the Middle East, we need to take stand in order to allow shipping to trade. And this is what we're doing in relation to negotiations to provide for the seafarers, to allow for some certificates of the vessels that have been impacted to be then addressed later on. This is a kind of flexible approach that we take. But again, let me reiterate, it is important that we comply with the rules. The rules follow a very strict process that is very inclusive, not only from the member states, but representatives from the shipping sectors in all areas. IMO continues to work in the spirit of multilateralism, and we have demonstrated that we continue to make progress. We always had a history in the organization where not all the countries would agree with all the proposals that are on the table. I represented my countries for nearly 20 years, and I wasn't in agreement with all the documents or the suggestions that are on the table. But that's the beauty of multilateralism. And it's something that I can see and that I've been noticing is that with this kind of crisis, a lot of the countries are coming to IMO and are leaning on IMO to assist in finding the solutions, to understand the concerns, and to see how we can further assist the sector. So IMO continues to thrive in an area where geopolitics continues to have an effect, but we know how to move forward, how to take the necessary steps, to take the actions that are required. In other areas where we need further conversations, we're always happy to do so. I work with 176 member states. Those include the members of the European Union. And I have a very good engage in conversations with the European Union. And I always ask them to bring their ideas, their objectives, their suggestions into the IMO to, again, focus on global regulation, because this is a global industry. So for me, what is important is that 176 member states have a view. We look at all of them equally. And whenever there are differences of opinion, that's when IMO thrives in order to bring the parties together. I'm very pleased to have the opportunity to attend again another Capital Link event, particularly now in Posidonia, because it brings a large group of stakeholders. It will allow me to have those conversations and to understand what are the views of the actions that we take in the organizations and how better we can continue to service the industry.